Hello, television family. Happy Monday. Back at it here for another exciting week of local television entertainment, local television information, and just plain local TV. 5th day of May. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I am Dan Kuntz, and the Apple Blossom Festival is in the books, the 106th Washington State Apple Blossom Festival. Now we got to clean up this joint and get back to normal, if there is such a thing. I have to tell you right now, it's amazing how the folks at the City of Wenatchee Parks and Recreation Department and Public Works is able to spruce up Memorial Park and get it back to green again in a very short period of time, because who's kidding who, with the thousands and thousands of people congregating in Memorial Park. They beat it up pretty good, the grass and the trees and everything, but they'll be at it. They'll start today as the remnants of everything gets cleaned up and hauled out of here. Good festival. I had a good time, and I stayed within my budget for the food fair. I was amazed. I still had $10 left. I can't remember the last time that's happened. As far as the weather is concerned, drop dead gorgeous all week long. If you have today off, you picked a good day to do it. If you got Tuesday off, you picked a good day to do that. It doesn't matter. Lots of sunshine. The only real troubling thing weather-wise, lack of precipitation. We'll talk about that. We're in a drought, and it's not looking good. All those details are coming up. News, including a significant story involving Douglas County Sheriff Kevin Morris. We'll have that. Sports, the weekend that was in the world of preps, and of course the Mariners lost. They're still playing incredibly good baseball, still leading the American League West by a couple of games, but they took one on the chin yesterday against Texas. And speaking of baseball, we're less than a month away from opening day of the Apple Sox season. Friday the 30th of May, Memorial Day weekend, is when no, it's not Memorial Day weekend. It's, I don't know. Anyway, it's the 30th of this month is when the Apple Sox open up their 25th campaign with Yakima Valley. So Joel Norman will be joining me in the back half of the program, an interview you don't want to miss. It is tour time with our PTZ cameras. I checked the lake levels and the stream levels and the river levels because it's an easy thing to find, and everything is where they should be really this time of the year, because the snow melt has really increased, but it's not really anything super dramatic. We didn't have a whole lot of snow this last winter, even in the hills and the mountains surrounding the Wenatchee Valley. That snow is rapidly melting away, especially on Mission Ridge, because almost all of us can see Mission Ridge. And so it's just about normal this time of the year as far as the flow and the temperature of the water. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. Nary a cloud to be had all over north central Washington. High pressure is back, and it's going to stay here for a while. Camera number 2. Off to Monitor again. It's been one of our more popular cameras. Good morning to Monitor. The irrigation ditch is on the right, or the canal, I should say, is on the right-hand side of your screen. The mighty Wenatchee River on the left, and a big swath of real estate. And you can see the mountains off into the distance, the enchantments and the Cascades, and the snow belt will continue there right up until, oh, I don't know, late June, early July, I suppose. Camera number 3. Good morning to Lake Aniat and our Rondo Rock camera. We use that camera a lot in the winter time because we get the low clouds and the fog and the stratus and can't see very much, and we use that camera because it's not real high. But every once in a while, it's good to check in on days like today. And again, off in the distance, Mission Ridge. The snow continues to melt away, including the north face of Mission Ridge, which gets the least amount of direct sunlight. And finally, camera number 4. Off to Billy Goats. Gorgeous view there, just lovely. Alta Lake in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, and way off in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that little protuberance. That's Canada. That's pretty impressive. Hi, Canada. How you doing? And good morning to everybody else to the north of us. Omak, you are at 41 degrees. We're at 45. By the way, the warm spot right now is Ephrata at 48 degrees, and everybody's going to warm up at least into the lower 70s, in many locations mid-70s, and we'll be lower 80s possible on Wednesday. But there's one concern out there. Measurable rain. We are way behind where we should be. This is the percent of normal precipitation for the last month, going back to April 4th. And as you can see, because of that deep red, we are way behind. The last time we've had any measurable rain, enough to at least trigger something on the rain gauge up at Pangboard, was April 8th. We've gone about a month without any measurable rain. In the month of April, we would normally have about a little over half an inch of measurable rain on any normal April. It would be 0.57 inches of measurable rain, a little over ½ an inch. What did we get in April? Actually, less than ¼ of an inch. So we had less than half the normal rainfall we should have for the month of April. It was very dry, and guess what? There isn't any rain at all, not only in the next 7 days, but for as long as we can look ahead. We need some rain. We ain't getting some, which is going to make folks a little nervous over there once we get into the wildfire season. By the way, we hit 67 on Saturday and 65 yesterday, but it was a little breezy Saturday night, and on Sunday our normal high is 68. From the National Weather Service, here we go. Yeah, don't have to break out the cloud icon. Forget about that. How about 71 for the afternoon high with lots of sunshine, calm wind. We are under the influence of a ridge of high pressure. 47 for the overnight low tonight. A few degrees warmer on Tuesday with a high of about 74. Overnight lows a little bit above normal for this time of the year. Wednesday looks good with a high of 78, and then a weak cold front rolls in Wednesday night. It's not going to last very long. All it's going to do is cool us down, and even that's relative. We're only going to get to 70 on Thursday, and then whoop, right back up we go again. 76, 81, 78, no rain in the forecast, nothing but sunshine, but very, very low relative humidity in the afternoon hours. It has been very, very dry. All right, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then we have some news for you on this Monday. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
There's no place like home. Because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories. And we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Central Washington Water is home to the Hot Spring Spa for over 45 years. Come see the Freshwater Smart IQ. It monitors your saltwater spa's pH balance, chlorine, and more. Or the cold plunge tub that will leave you feeling rejuvenated. Plug-and-play spas make hot tubbing easy. With great financing available, cold water, salt water, hot water, Central Washington Water has a spa for your budget and your lifestyle. Stop by today.
You want sunshine? You got it all day and all week long. We are at 45 degrees. We'll be in the lower 70s today and right through this whole week. Nothing but sunny and mild temperatures. It's 9 minutes after the hour. Douglas County Sheriff Kevin Morris paid a $500 settlement back in March to void an Idaho Fish and Game infraction for killing a cougar under false pretenses. Morris admitted to the violation in a press release on Friday after NCWLIFE learned of the violation and contacted him for an interview. Documents from Leda County Court in Idaho show that Morris, who's been sheriff since 2018, shot a cougar last October from the porch of a cabin he owns near Lewiston. Hunting season on cougars was open, and he had the option to claim the carcass using a deer and elk permit he already held. But instead, he asked his son to buy him a new cougar-specific permit with which to claim the kill, and that led to a Fish and Game investigation in which Morris at first said he bought the cougar tag before the shooting and then admitted ordering the tag after killing the animal. He was cited with a misdemeanor game violation. The 52-year-old sheriff issued a press release late Friday afternoon saying he's disclosed that incident to his staff and to Douglas County prosecutors. He said, and I'm quoting now, "I made a choice in the heat of the moment, and unfortunately it was not the most prudent decision." Close quote. Morris had been contacted by us last week about the case. He agreed to be interviewed on camera today, but after issuing his press statement on Friday, the sheriff unilaterally canceled that interview. Moses Lake police say their investigation of a suspected drug operation on Thursday also found evidence of a large-scale illegal cockfighting ring just outside of Moses Lake. Local police and Grant County Sheriff's deputies served a search warrant on Road N4 about 11 miles northeast of Moses Lake. There they allegedly found 7 ounces of heroin, 2 ounces of methamphetamine, $30,000 in cash, and 71 roosters that had been illegally modified for fighting. Six people, ranging in age from 35 to 75 years old, were arrested during the search. Possible charges include illegal gambling, animal fighting, drug possession with intent to deliver, and unlawful possession of a firearm. Highway 971 has officially reopened for travelers. A portion of the highway on the south shore of Lake Chelan underwent a 58-day closure. They had to clear debris spilled by a rock slide. The Washington State Department of Transportation says a contracting company worked 6 days a week alongside DOT crews to remove more than 1,400 cubic yards of rock and debris, and they installed 1,000 feet of rock anchors at 46 different locations. Although the highway has reopened, the DOT says that warm spring weather can still induce rock slides, and drivers are encouraged to remain alert. A new improv show called Mini Quest Tavern debuted in Wenatchee back in February at Host Wenatchee. It brings the imaginative board game Dungeons and Dragons to life. Well, the show is relocated now. It's going to be at the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. Their next production, May 9th and May 10th. We attended a rehearsal to speak with director Cynthia Brown and members of the cast about what goes into pulling off a production that's actually controlled by the audience.
I've been seeing this type of show all over the place. One of the big ones right now is on Broadway. It's been there for a while, and it's called the 20-Sided Tavern. And so I read about that one, and then I thought, but I want more audience participation. I want the audience to actually get a feel of playing Dungeons and Dragons, how to have the character sheet and everything. So it was something I wanted to do. And I had some friends that I gathered right after the election, actually. The day after the election, we all met, and there was like 20 of us in a room trying to come up with something new to do. And this was one of the ideas. Well, Dungeons and Dragons is a game I started playing in 1978. And back then it had kind of a bad reputation, but I loved the idea of creating my own world and then bringing my friends in, and then, you know, the whole thing of making the maps and having them walk through. And basically I would say, you know what, you're a wizard and you can cast these spells, all right? And I'm going to describe to you where you are, and then you're going to tell me what you want to do. And then when you do those things, then I'm going to tell you what happened. And just to make sure that it's fair, you're going to roll a dice, and that tells me how successful you are in doing what you just tried to do. The first show was just a month and a half ago. It was on the 28th of February this year. We were at Host Wenatchee, and basically she was looking for something, and I said, how about something like this? And when she said, yes, you can have this date and perform this here, then we decided we needed to create it. Having a bigger space like the museum here, we're excited. We're going to have lighting. We didn't have lighting before. And we've got projections, we've got sound effects. All this stuff helps bring the reality in, the costumes, the sound and everything. We don't have a set, so a lot still has to be in your imagination when you come to the show. But the characters fill in all the blanks. Right now, we have the same number we had before, and that is 14. And one of them is a dungeon master. He comes all the way from Ellensburg to do this. 2 of them are hosts that kind of help the audience out while the audience is playing. So if somebody like you that hasn't played before, you know, you're going, I don't know how to do this. They're going to come over and help you. So you've got them on your side. And then the rest are all going to be characters that you can choose. You have to choose your hero. So we have 9 people who have fully developed characters. They're going to come out and they're going to tell you about themselves, and then you get to pick which one is going to represent you. Most of these guys costume themselves. So some of them are already cosplayers. They go to Ren fairs and they cosplay. And so they're costuming themselves. At this point, it's volunteer. I wish we were selling more tickets and doing bigger shows. Then I would try to pay them if I could, because they put a lot of their own money into it. Yeah.
We originally weren't going to be doing any of the makeup at first. And on a whim, I showed up to rehearsal and we painted my face green. And Cynthia immediately was like, no, that looks awful. And we kind of eventually wore her down, and so she was like, fine, I'm going to be the one to put your makeup on so it doesn't look like complete garbage. And it takes about maybe 15 to 20 minutes to take off, or to put on, and then to take off about 3 minutes, and then I'm still washing it off the next day, the next 2 days or so.
This time, since we kind of knew how the show would play, we wrote a brand new script. We write a new script for every show. And the crew of people writes the scripts. Everybody has part of it. And we adjust the script as we go to make sure things work well. Because there's choices that get made, and the script then splits off into different directions based on the choices that are made. So we have to plan for that. And we will rehearse, I think this time we're going to have like just five rehearsals of the show itself. And then we had 4 rehearsals where it was just improvisational training and acting training, just for the people to play their characters.
A lot of the benefits can be, you don't need to think about a lot of your next movement. It's going to be something that the audience wants, or whoever it is that ends up controlling you. It's something that they want to do, and it becomes more of a collaborative effort as opposed to something that's just coming off the top of your head. Some of the challenges can be when they're trying to do things that are a little bit too intricate to portray in a meaningful manner. So, for example, there was one time we were doing a test session where one person that was controlling me thought it was the funniest thing in the world to just throw everything. It turned into, throw Frodrick, my little guy here, throw an axe, throw this, and then it turned into throw Happy, one of the characters from the other show. So it's one of those things where you got to know where to draw the line when it comes to a lot of the physicality of it. So it's just, there are things that are physically impossible and just unsafe to do, is kind of where things can end up in some cases.
This isn't sold out yet, and we're really kind of nervous. We're hoping it's just a tough time right now, but I'm really hoping people get out to see it. This time we did give people the option of, if they do not want to be a player, they can buy a cheaper ticket and just sit on the sidelines and watch. But we're going to adjust things as we go. And, I think we've got 12 more days, and Wenatchee tends to buy things late. And I will be selling tickets to the door as well. So we're not going to be 8 hours in your mom's basement tonight. We are going to be 2 hours, 2 hours only. There's an intermission. And the dungeon master is amazing. He keeps track of the time, and he makes things either go a little longer or, make them shorter so that we get it done in time.
As the dungeon master, I sort of arbitrate success and failure based on the dice rolls. I kind of narrate the story, keep it rolling, introduce monsters and stuff, mock the dumb decisions of the players when they decide to try to kill someone by hugging them. But the story has to move on, so I let them do that. At the end of the day, success or failure moves the story forward.
You can purchase tickets right now by going to the Numerica PAC website, and they are being our box office for us. So you can walk into the Numerica PAC box office and not pay any fees. Or you can go online and buy your ticket there. And it's just numericapac.org. You can also go to our website, which is miniquesttavern.com, and we have a ticket link there. And at that place, we've got photos, kind of bios of the different roles, the different heroes, and a lot about the show. But yeah, the show, it's called The Arcane Rift is the name of the script. And it has to do with 2 major characters fighting over supremacy. And halfway through, the audience has to decide, are we going to side with this guy or that guy, or are we going to go on our own?
And that is the news on this Monday. And if you want to keep in the loop, we invite you to watch the news tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. That is the air times on television, 5, 6, and 10. Or you can watch it online right around 5 o'clock, because that's when it'll be up and running. Posted on our homepage, our Facebook page, and our YouTube page. And if something out there you think is newsworthy, send us an email, news at NCWLIFE.com. Sports in 2 minutes. You're watching a Monday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. Tour moseslake.com and start your adventure today.
The Surf and Slide Water Park is open from Memorial Day through Labor Day. Surf and Slide is located in the heart of Central Washington in Moses Lake with activities for all ages and abilities. Check out Surf and Slide's Flow Rider Surfing Simulator, Lazy River, 2 200-foot water slides, tube slides, and diving boards. Our children's area includes a Treasure Island water structure, splash pad, and baby octopus slide. For season passes, visit us online or find Surf and Slide on Facebook.
Craving fresh Asian comfort food? Steam Panda is Wenatchee's popular, family-friendly Asian restaurant. They focus on providing guests with delicious, healthy, fresh, and natural dishes for an affordable price. It's time to enjoy one of their many popular house-made soup dumplings, ramen noodles, or pho dishes. And make sure to ask about their lunch and chef specials on sushi rolls. Steam Panda's Hawaiian poke bowl and salads are excellent with your favorite boba tea. Stop by or order online at Steam Panda today.
Caught in a conflict? Family, workplace, neighbor, business, housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
22 minutes after the hour, the Texas Rangers scored 6 runs in the 3rd inning, built a lead that the Mariners never challenged, and Seattle goes down yesterday. The final was 8-1. The AL West leading Mariners had their season-best 6-game winning streak snapped, but they have clinched an 8th consecutive winning series. They did that by beating Texas on Saturday. They had won their first 5 against the Rangers this season. Seattle now heads to Sacramento, taking on the Athletics tonight at 7:05. Bryce Miller will face Louis Severino. To the scoreboard we go. The Mariners still have a 2-game lead. Well, it was a 3-game lead. Now it's a 2-game lead. They lost, and of course the A's beat the Marlins. Texas took care of, the Tigers took care of the Angels, and they only got 7 innings in before rain stopped the White Sox and the Astros. Prep baseball on Friday. Davis split with the Wenatchee Panthers. They won the opener. Wenatchee came back and won the 2nd game. Eastmont swept Eisenhower in prep baseball, and West Valley continues her stranglehold on first place by sweeping Moses Lake. And in the smaller schools, it was another split. Keona Benton won the opener. Cashmere won the nightcap. Prep baseball on Saturday, another split. Omak and Manson. Omak won the opener. Manson won the 2nd game, but Ellensburg swept Ephrata without any real problems. And more games on Saturday and more splits. Okanagan and Brewster split their doubleheader, and Wilbur-Crest and Keller and Waterville-Mansfield split their doubleheader. Prep softball, it was more sweeps than splits. Eastmont, Moses Lake, and Chelan all swept their respective doubleheaders on Friday. Also on Friday, the smaller schools, Keona Benton and Cashmere, they split their doubleheader, but Ellensburg and Ephrata, they split as well, but Tonasket took care of Bridgeport in 2 easy victories in prep softball on Friday. And on Saturday, Omak swept Manson, Brewster, and Okanagan split their doubleheader. Lake Roosevelt and Liberty Bell just played one. Lake Roosevelt won that one. Prep soccer, Wenatchee avenged their only loss of the season. They wiped out Eisenhower 6-1. Eastmont knocked off West Valley 3-0. Wapato over Cashmere, Orville over Tonasket. Prep soccer on Saturday, Bridgeport over Chelan, Omak over Soap Lake, Liberty Bell beat Oroville. The District 5 2A tournament is already underway. Ephrata's season came to an end by losing to Toppenish. Quincy, although they lost to Othello, is still in the running for a district playoff berth. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. Happy National Cartoonist Day today for your cartoonists. I'm talking about comic strips, not necessarily cartoons like The Simpsons or stuff like that. I'm talking about cartoons in comics, comic strips in the newspapers, and the top 5 comic strips of all time. This is by syndication and the number of newspapers that ran it, revenues, that kind of deal. The most popular comic strips of all time. Number 5, Dennis the Menace. Number 4, Calvin and Hobbes. Number 3, Garfield. Number 2, The Far Side. And by far, the most popular comic strip of all time, Peanuts. It is National Cartoonist Day today. Today in history. Let's see, there's been about 150 years of Major League Baseball, over 230,000 games played. And of all that, only 24 official perfect games. Somebody had to be first, and Cy Young of the Boston Americans throws the very first perfect game in the modern era of baseball. Congratulations to Cy, he was the first. There have been 23 since the first perfect game on this date, 1904. It was 80 years ago today. Archie Mitchell, the pastor of Bly Christian and Missionary Alliance Church, he and his pregnant wife Elsie drove up to Gerhardt Mountain in Oregon with 5 of their Sunday school students. They were going to have a picnic. They stopped in Bly, Oregon, because there was construction. Elsie and the children got out of the car at Bly. Archie drove to find a parking spot. While they were waiting for Archie, one of the kids saw a balloon lying on the ground. He kicked it. It exploded. All 5 children and Elsie Mitchell were killed. Turns out it was a Japanese Fugu balloon bomb. They were the only Americans killed on American soil during World War II as the result of an enemy attack 80 years ago today. And also, exactly 80 years ago today, the strangest battle of World War II, the Battle of Castle Itter. On one side, Nazi Germany. On the other side, Americans, the freed French, members of the Austrian resistance, and Nazi Germany. Yeah, there were some Nazi German soldiers who did not know that the war was all but over and they were going to lose. And they decided to keep fighting on, but there were other Nazis who said, no, we're going to go over to the other guy so we can get this over quicker. That was 80 years ago today. 64 years ago today, Alan Shepard becomes the first American to travel into outer space on a suborbital flight. Pretty darn impressive. That is why today is National Astronaut Day today. May 5th, 1973, 52 years ago today, Secretariat wins the 99th Kentucky Derby. And here's how it unfolded. Take a look.
And they're off for the lead. On the inside, that's Angle Light for the lead. On the outside, Shecky Green, Royal and Regal. Then on the rail, it's Restless Jet, followed by Our Native. Up on the outside is Gold Bag. They're by the stands for the first time. Shecky Green is showing the way by a length and a half. Royal and Regal now being moved to the inside, looking for room. Gold Bag is up on the outside. Then on the rail, it's Angle Light, followed by Sham, Our Native, Restless Jet. It's My Gallant, then Forgo. On the outside, Navajo, followed by Secretariat, Warbucks, and finally, Twice a Prince. They're into the turn and bunching for the lead with Shecky Green, still the leader by a half a length. On the outside and challenging is Sham, and he's now got a head in front. Now Shecky Green responds to the challenge, and those two are heads apart. Royal and Regal is third and holding on. Gold Bag drops back. Secretariat is fourth and moving up on the outside and is now third and moving at the leaders as they come for the head of the stretch. They're at the head of the stretch, and Sham is the leader. He leads it by a length. Secretariat is in the center of the racetrack and driving. Shecky Green now drops back. Coming on a bit is Forgo, Our Native on the outside. Now and they're in the stretch. It's Secretariat. Secretariat on the outside to take the lead. Sham holding in second. It's Secretariat moving away. He has it by 2.5. Sham then on the outside, Our Native. At the wire, it's going to be Secretariat. He wins it by 2 lengths. Sham is second. Our Native third by a neck. Forgo is fourth. Restless Jet is fifth. And it looked like Navajo might have gotten up for sixth. We'll have that for you in just a moment. Right now, let's take a look as they go around the turn. Let's make the margin a little better, 2 1/4 lengths at the finish line. The winning time, once again, 1:59 2/5, and that's a new Derby 1 1/4 record.
Put this in perspective, the horse that finished second, Sham, also broke the Kentucky Derby record. 1 minute, 59 2/5 seconds. That has never been beaten. And the strangest career in modern baseball history came to an end 50 years ago today. The Oakland A's release Herb Washington. He played 105 major league games without ever batting, pitching, or fielding. He was a designated runner. He was a world record holder in the 50 and 60-yard dash, had never played organized baseball, signed with the A's. Strange indeed. Birthdays at the bottom of the hour. If your name is both an adjective and a noun, you made some impact on world culture, and certainly Karl Marx did that, the philosopher, the sociologist. Marxism, of course, he gets to own that because he came up with it. He was born in the state in 1818. Leo Ryan. In November of 1978, Leo Ryan, United States Congressman, traveled to Guyana to investigate claims that people were being held against their will at the People's Temple in the Jonestown settlement, shot and killed at the airstrip while attempting to leave in November of 1978. Leo Ryan is the only member of Congress to be killed in the line of duty. He was born in the state in 1925. And Adele is 37. Her album 21 is the best-selling album of this century. Over 31 million copies have been sold. Pretty impressive. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They are our platinum sponsor. One of the people who you did not see at the food fair over the weekend or over the last 11 days was Mike McNaughty. He doesn't like eating out. He'll have that comment. And then we're talking Apple Sox baseball with Joel Norman. That's coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCWLIFE. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCWLIFE channel. Global Car Care has the best customer service in the Valley. From the moment you walk in the door, their goal is to help you stay on the road, so you can keep doing what's important to you. Global Car Care certified ASE mechanics stand behind your automotive repairs.
Right now at Les Schwab Tires, it's the Best for Less sales event. Save up to $120 instantly on a set of 4 tires. Choose from a wide selection of our longest-lasting, best-performing tires, and every tire is covered by America's best tire warranty. With a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no-hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. It's our best deal on our best tires with the best service in the business. Get more from less.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I recently saw a sign for a restaurant that said family restaurant. What does that mean, I wondered? What's a non-family restaurant? Well, Hooters, I guess. I guess what Hooters sign should say, men who think that oogling half-naked girls who despise them is manly restaurant. That's okay. Well, how about an eat and be miserable because you think it's good for you, i.e. a vegan restaurant? Ooh, that's going to get me in trouble. But how about a cardiac delight restaurant, a.k.a. a steak joint? Or a sandwich place that advertises itself as non-celiacs only restaurant? Maybe family restaurant means plan on trying to eat while listening to other people's kids screaming restaurant. No, I don't know. Hey, look, it's getting too expensive to eat out anyway. Gosh. Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
Great glorious spring, Wenatchee Valley. Collins Fashions is your go-to lady shopping experience in downtown Wenatchee. Special occasion dresses are arriving daily for moms, grandmothers, and friends and family. Sundresses, capris, tees, tanks, shorts, skirts hit the floor. Trusted quality brands such as Tribal, Charlie B, French Dressing Cut, and Liverpool. Comfy and cute sandals from Soft, Bueno, Volatile, Fly London, to name a few. Brighten Mother's Day with a gift from Collins in downtown Wenatchee.
At Abby's, Toppings to the Edge is a promise we've kept for 60 years and counting. We load our pizzas with fresh ingredients, quality meats, and real cheese, so every bite is legendary. If you can find a better pizza, buy it. Abby's, you just can't top it. Right now, every day is Taco Tuesday at Abby's. Our Taco Especial is on sale 7 days a week. This giant pizza serves up to 6 people and is at a very special price. Order at abbys.com. Give us a call or just drop by. We're family-owned Abby's, a legendary pizza tradition.
When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works Shared Membership Model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
From the My Does Time Fly department, we're about a month away from opening day of the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Getting ready to ply their trade at Paul Thomas Senior Field, a brand new field. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. It's their 25th anniversary. Of course, they started in 1999, but they didn't play in COVID, so technically this is their 25th year. And joining me again from the palatial Norman Estate, via Zoom in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's our good buddy Joel Norman, who does double duty when he's not in Wenatchee. He's in Lincoln calling a pretty darn good hockey team. First of all, Joel, how are you?
Doing well, Dan. Happy to be chatting with you. It's always fun to be able to talk a little bit of baseball, especially as starting to get into that mindset this time of the year, aren't we?
Well, let's talk a little hockey first. Just a quick little shop talk. For those of you who don't know, I think most of you do, Joel spends his winter months in Lincoln, Nebraska. He calls all the action for the Lincoln Stars, who right now are making a deep run into their respective playoffs. You must be liking this. Are you getting used to calling winners, first the Apple Sox and now the Stars?
It's kind of fun just bleeding over from one championship contender into another. The Apple Sox, obviously, we had that great summer last year, an out away from winning the title. And here I've been with the Stars, and we had the best record in our conference in the regular season, in our entire league, rather, of the 16 teams. So that was really cool. And then just, jumping right into a playoff run here, where we're today, the time you and I are talking, we're opening up our Western Conference Finals at home here tonight. So it's the playoffs, whether it's baseball or hockey, there's nothing like it, and it is always fun to work for a winner. I've been blessed with a lot of success with that, really primarily post-pandemic. I was counting it up the other day, and between my hockey and baseball seasons, ever since the spring of 2022, I did hockey playoffs, made those all 4 years I've been in it, and I've won at least one series all 4 years I've done hockey. And Apple Sox, obviously 3 straight years making the playoffs. So that's a combined 7 consecutive seasons between hockey and baseball in which my teams I work for have made the playoffs. And it's I think, as anyone knows as a broadcaster, you really enjoy it a lot more when your team is winning.
And you get fatter paychecks, but that's another story altogether. Let's talk about Mitch Darlington. It was a great year last year, all the way to the championship against the Portland Pickles, as you already mentioned. It didn't quite pull it off. So let's talk about the roster. First of all, shortly after the season ended last year in the middle of August, Mitch sat down with the players who were eligible to come back for the 2025 season for the Apple Sox, who might be interested in rejoining the team. And he did pretty good, didn't he?
Yeah. He certainly has brought back some really good returners for this summer's team. And I think a lot of fans are going to be excited to see again. Evan Cloyd, who was the team's regular first baseman in the second half last year, just an on-base machine. I think there was at one point, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was over 30 consecutive games at one point where he reached base safely with either a walk, a hit, or a hit by pitch. So that's going to be a nice stable bat to have in the middle of the order. I would imagine Mitch will right away slot him in at third or fourth in the order once he comes back. Kanoa Morisaki, a guy who fans certainly loved last season with his versatility. He could pitch, he could catch, but most importantly, he played shortstop, which is what the team really needed in that second half. And there's a couple others, a couple local names, Joe Thornton, who was a lefty down the stretch, Carson Bozel, who dealt with some injuries kind of in the middle of the summer, but Apple Sox don't win the first half without him being kind of your 7th, 8th inning guy in a lot of ways. So a lot of familiar names who will be back, which has kind of been a staple under the Mitch Darlington era, is the guys he's brought back, and that includes his coaches for this coming season. Xander Orejudos will be his returning assistant coach, and then Quincy Vassar goes from the mound to coaching the pitchers on the mound this coming summer. So it's a really good fit, and I think the thing that's been such a success in Mitch's time has been the chemistry of players on the Apple Sox. So really looking forward to keeping up with how they do, because it's just such an easy team to root for with the way Mitch runs things.
It's not only that, but you mentioned the fact that he brings in good players who are good people, Joel, but it's also critically important that when you bring in the veterans like you just talked about, they understand the culture and they can pass that on to the new players, because who's kidding who in the West Coast League? Every team deals with a great deal of roster turnover almost week to week. When you have that solid group of veterans bringing in with the newcomers, they understand Mitch's way of doing things and the culture of winning at the Apple Sox. That's critical, isn't it?
Yeah, turnover is the name of the game in summer collegiate baseball. You look at the team that was fielded in the final game of the first half last season, the team that took the field in the WCL championship game, and a lot of different looks to them. A lot of new guys were in there. There were a few familiar names. You had, Evan Cloyd was at first base both times. James Castagnola was at third. Different shortstop, different outfielders as well. It was just a lot of different names who have to come and go, and the ability of teams to adapt to that change is what really separates the contenders from the pretenders. And Mitch has learned that lesson very well. His first season, he always talks about how he felt like the team at the end of the season, even though they reached the North Division Championship game, the team wasn't fully representative of what the Apple Sox were really, were that summer in 2022, which was the best offensive team in the league. And they had a little trouble scoring runs down the stretch at times that year, but 2024, when he had to replace guys, he did. Elijah Palaio played every single game of the first half last year. You bring in Kanoa Morisaki once Palaio has to head home, and you don't miss a beat defensively. So Mitch's ability to connect with coaches and players and plug in those right replacements where he's needed is probably going to keep the Apple Sox contenders for as long as he remains the skipper.
And there's also the network that he has among the collegiate coaches who keep an eye out for players who might be interested to come to the Wenatchee Valley, and having a large umbrella of cell phones, and it helps Mitch out a great deal, because he has his collegiate coaches in his network basically recruiting for him in a lot of respects, because the kids want to come here to the big city and play. It's a winning organization, and they do it the right way, and that kind of makes things pretty easy.
Oh, no doubt about that, Dan. I think one of the big things Mitch always brings up is that, no one's busier on Twitter over the summer than he is. He said he reaches out to a lot of guys, sends direct messages just to say, hey, would you be interested in jumping in here? And just that ability to, it's like a good salesman, just the ability to maybe place that cold call sometimes, just the effort of doing that can go such a long way. So it's fun to see how much he enjoys the recruiting, both in season and out of season, because there's definitely stretches in the off season where, you think you have a team assembled, and then maybe you have to plug in some new guys in place. But over the course of the summer, surprises come up. Injuries, or coaches wanting their players maybe to shut down because, hey, they played a few more games than they anticipated. But that's the challenge and the excitement of recruiting. And Mitch was telling me one time he compares it to kind of being a fantasy football manager. You're constantly looking on the waiver wire. You're constantly dealing with, oh, shoot, this guy got injured unexpectedly. So in a way, it's kind of real-life fantasy sports for him, but getting to do that from the recruiting perspective.
And just like you mentioned, it's fun to call play-by-play for a winning organization. The players want to play for a winning organization. These are competitive athletes who want to apply their trade and get as far as they can in the game of baseball. They want to play for a winner.
Oh, no doubt about that. If you're just going out there to play or for yourself, then, hey, there's other teams in the league where sometimes that's you can do. You can go out and that, hey, we're probably not going to get to the playoffs, or we're probably not going to contend for a title, but hey, I can get my at-bats and I can hit 300 this summer. But guys come and stay with the Apple Sox because they want to win. I look back at last summer, and the one example I always bring up was Max Hartman. He's a guy who he played every single day with Washington State. He's pretty much played every single day with them this year as a junior with the Cougs, and he played almost every single day with the Apple Sox over the course of last summer. He's just a gamer. And guys who love to play every single day love to play for Mitch Darlington for that reason, because Mitch is a gamer too. It doesn't matter if it's a cold night in early June to open up the season, or maybe that 110-degree day in August near the end of the calendar. But he wants to win every game, and that's what's I think it's fun for players, because there's that mindset sometimes with summer collegiate baseball that it can be a little bit more relaxed, and maybe tonight isn't as important as tomorrow because tomorrow's fireworks night, and tonight maybe there's only 300 people in the stands. No, every game's important. At the end of the day, every win counts the same, and every loss matters the same amount. So I love that about how Mitch has led the team in his 3 years, now going on the 4th season, where every game is important. Every night you have a chance to put on a show, and it certainly has showed through 3 campaigns.
Well, we got a whole bunch of new players coming in, and the list is too much to look at. I've been getting Joel's press releases and checking the website almost on a daily basis. So we don't have time to mention all the newcomers. But like everything else, with really kind of a holdover from the Ed Nags era, they're from all over the place, including the fertile ground of California. So we got some serious talent coming our way.
There's a lot of good players coming. And, some of the connections Mitch has been able to form, Grand Canyon is one he always brings up. We bring up some really good players. If maybe you're not familiar with Grand Canyon, they just had a guy who is in the majors right now. He was a first-round pick a couple of years ago, Jacob Wilson. And last summer, the Apple Sox got Cannon Peary and Garrett Ahern from Grand Canyon. There's a couple of really exciting players coming from that school in particular. Gunnar Penscover is one. He's a utility man, pitches and plays the outfield, who Mitch is really excited about. But it's fun to see these new names because right now, Dan, they are, in a lot of ways, nameless gray faces to us because we haven't seen them play yet. They don't stand out in the same way that the returners do, but it's so fun once you get a couple games in to see these guys in action and realize, hey, this guy can really play. And this is a household name, and maybe that name that's a blip on our releases over the course of the spring ends up being, maybe the most important player on the team once we get into June, July, and August. So I encourage fans, head over to applesox.com. Each week we're letting fans know new guys who are coming to this team, and it's going to be a lot of names you're going to have to learn over the course of the season because it's going to be another fun group to watch here that Mitch is putting together.
And the best recruiters of all are the players themselves. They play collegiate baseball. Come June, mid to late June, they're done with collegiate baseball. They come to Wenatchee. They play for the Apple Sox in the summer. Then they go back to school in late summer, early fall, and they say, what did you do this summer? And I said, I played for the Wenatchee Apple Sox, and it was a blast. It feeds on itself, doesn't it?
Oh, no doubt about it. You play for the Apple Sox. You play for the right coaching staff like what we have in place, and you get to get a good, true summer experience, both just from playing for the team, but also living in Wenatchee, having Chelan, Leavenworth nearby. It's a great fit for players. It's different. There's a lot of guys who come in and they go, okay, this is a little smaller than I anticipated, but we talk about it each season. They end the campaign and they've got tears in their eyes. They're realizing how special Wenatchee was to them and how much they're going to miss it because for so many of them, that 2.5-month season is the only time they ever will get to spend in Wenatchee.
Jose Oglesby is not an owner that everything is the bottom line. He loves baseball. He's a baseball fan. He took over the ownership and has built it into a winner, and he's invested not only with quality players and quality coaches and Mitch and his staff, but the field itself. We got the new scoreboard a couple of years ago at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium, and now as folks go through the turnstiles at the end of May, they're going to see a new field too, aren't they?
Absolutely. Jose, first off, is just so committed to both the Apple Sox and the Wenatchee Valley. And I think that was so true immediately after getting started with the team. 2021, he installed that brand new scoreboard as a donation for the Apple Sox and for Wenatchee Valley College. And I think both sides have really enjoyed it. And I think if you've been a fan who came to games before the scoreboard, now you come to them after it, boy, what a difference it makes. I mean, for me, just that first summer, 2021, once the scoreboard was in, I noticed such a difference from that year compared to my previous 2 years. And it's such a neat thing that for me, when we got installed, I thought, boy, we have to use this to our maximum capability just because of how special it was to have that. And then, of course, now the recent things. Jose fought really hard, as did the West Coast League with the state of Washington, to try and get some improvements to West Coast League facilities, able to get some funds raised through the state, and we're so grateful that we were able to get some improvements to Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. Really have to thank Brad Hawkins as well for really helping make that possible, but the infield is going to look very different. I think anyone who can recall games over the first 24 seasons, and you're smiling as I say it too because you know where I'm going, the rocky infield, a ground ball to the left side might bounce up a little higher than expected. Many is the circumstance over the course of a season, Dan, where we'd see the slow roller that suddenly hits that wrong rock and bounces up about throat high. So that has been leveled, and hopefully a lot of that has been corrected. I know Wenatchee Valley College has really enjoyed playing on it, but the biggest thing fans will notice isn't necessarily in between first and third base itself, although that has been leveled and completely redone. What they're going to really notice is the area in foul territory, third base and first base sides. That's all been turfed out. So it's going to be a nice bright green, whether it's May 30th or August 13th. So it's going to be nice and bright green. That's all turf. Home plate itself is turf, which has taken a beating over the years between both the Apple Sox and the Wenatchee Valley College seasons. So this is an effort for the Apple Sox to keep that traditional baseball feel, the grass and dirt playing field, but also that foul territory, which sometimes, as you know, Dan, the way the sun sets, it's a little tricky to get the lighting that you want on there sometimes, and maybe get the grass and the dirt to sustain themselves as well as they would like. So this is going to keep that area a little bit better. The dugouts have been redone. There's railing there, so no longer will those screaming line drives, ankle high, maybe clip your shoes and have to leap up in the air to get out of the way. But this is just another effort to continue to modernize Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. It is, I always say, it's a fantastic place to watch a baseball game. From an unbiased standpoint, I always invite people, watch the game from where I do when you come to Paul Thomas Senior Stadium, and tell me you've had a better view at a baseball game at the summer collegiate or even college level. It's a fantastic spot to end a summer night on another beautiful day in Wenatchee, and Jose has been so committed to trying to keep it modern and also just continue to give the proper facility for both our players and for our fans.
Yeah, you can't get closer to home plate in any ballpark in the West Coast League than you can at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. You are right there. Opening day is May 30th. Season tickets on sale right now. Season game tickets are on sale as well with all the usual deals. You can buy a bucket of single game tickets and pick and choose which games you want to go with our old friends, the Yakima Valley Pippins, kicking things off on May 30th. 30 home games this year. And I hate to cut this short, Joel, but we have to close on a personal note. For you folks heading to Paul Thomas Senior Stadium or listening to Joel on the Apple Sox Radio Network, you're moving onward and upward, Joel. We won't be seeing you here in the big city this summer.
Yeah, I'm taking this year off. You know, I did the previous 6 seasons for the team, 2018 through 2024, and this is something I've been kind of thinking about for the last couple of seasons. I've loved my time with the Apple Sox. I've been blessed to find Wenatchee. I was blessed to receive an offer to work for the team from Jim Corcoran right out of college, but I think it was just the right time for me to move on personally. As much as I would love to be doing baseball, both for the Apple Sox or all this summer, I also realized, as we were kind of talking about before, the transition from baseball season into hockey season and traveling across the country through a few time zones twice a year, it's just it's worn a little bit on me. And I'm trying to, I'm not old by any means, but I'm 29, and I'm trying to best serve myself to not suffer burnout, because I think burnout is extremely common in my industry. Many people my age, I think they really come out of college ready to go and just ready to, do everything they can. And doing things halfway isn't exactly my personality. And I think for me, it's either you're all in or you're going to step aside and take a break. And for me right now, I felt it a lot last season. I felt some fatigue. I love the season. I love what we do. I love trying to put out the best product possible. And I felt we did do that in my time with the Apple Sox. And I know the team will, even with me no longer part of it. But I just realized for myself, it would be good to take some time off. I don't usually do a very good job of that for myself. I usually am just always fixated on when the next game is. But, this summer I'm looking forward to taking a little bit more time personally, having a summer to go on some trips, to spend time with family and friends and just kind of relax a little bit more, where I have to kind of teach myself that still a little bit, Dan, but I'm looking forward to a new challenge, and that's resting a little bit more and just staying a little bit more fresh so I can get back into hockey season. I think anyone who knows me knows my preference is baseball, and it always will be. But for right now, hockey kind of allows me the opportunity to live maybe a more normal life, right? We play Friday and Saturday, and then I can kind of be a normal guy during the rest of the week and be able to still do stuff with other people.
Well, speaking personally, I'm going to miss you, but we'll be in touch. It's not like, We're not going to see each other at all, Joel. Best of luck. Go Lincoln Stars. I hope you're working deep into May, calling play-by-play for the Lincoln Stars. And Joel, anytime you want to pop on just to talk baseball or hockey or Pittsburgh Penguins hockey, even though they suck, love to have you on, all right?
Well, thank you very much, Dan. Thank you guys for your coverage. You, Eric, and everyone at the NCWLIFE crew. I hope you guys enjoy this summer. I'll be keeping tabs on the team from far away, but definitely we'll miss summer nights at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium.
Storm Joel Norman, the former broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Apple Sox, gets the summer off for the first time since he was a teenager, and I'm darn proud of you. Joel, take care, my friend, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Dan.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, located in East Wenatchee, offers terrific views and challenging play for golfers at every skill level. From the golf course to the grill, you don't need to be a member to dine in style and play golf too. Highlander's well-groomed fairways and greens keep it difficult, yet friendly for your regular rounds of golf or a new destination for you and your out-of-town friends. Contact the Highlander Pro Shop today to schedule your tee time, outing, or tournament. Open 7 days a week, where everyone is welcome to play and eat.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Right now at Les Schwab Tires, it's the Best for Less sales event. Save up to $120 instantly on a set of 4 tires. Choose from a wide selection of our longest-lasting, best-performing tires, and every tire is covered by America's best tire warranty. With a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. It's our best deal on our best tires with the best service in the business. Get more from Les.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders, or something else altogether, we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
It is 46 degrees here in the big city. The one number that jumps out at me, and it's been such an interesting weather phenomenon that the National Weather Service has even been talking about it in their blogs and their discussions, has been the relative humidity. It has been bone dry. I mean, ridiculously bone dry. Relative humidity bottoms out right around 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon. It's been getting down to less than 20% relative humidity. Right now in Ephrata, the relative humidity is already at 33%. It continues to drop. It's been bone dry, and it's also been bone dry from a precipitation standpoint as well. After a very wet month of March, we had almost an inch of rain in the month of March. The last time we had measurable rain here in the Wenatchee Valley was April 8th. We've gone almost a month without any measurable rain at all, and we're now on the other side. After a really wet March, it was a bone dry April, and it's going to stay that way for quite some time because there's nary a raindrop to be had in the forecast, and I mean nothing at all. Even though there's a cold front coming in on Wednesday night into Thursday, it's not going to bring us any precipitation. In fact, as you look at the forecast, you're not going to see a single cloud icon because there isn't one to put up there. No rain at all. Just sunny and mild and 71. Beautiful day today. 47 for the overnight low tonight. 74 on Tuesday. 78, pushing 80 on Wednesday. A weak cold front comes in over the top of the ridge of high pressure, so we could see a few high clouds Wednesday into Thursday. It's going to cool us down to about 70, all things being relative. Our normal high is 68, and then right back up the ladder we go with lots and lots of sunshine for everybody. Very dry air, no rain. Outside of the lack of rain, beautiful weather. That's it for us. Have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.